Hi and welcome everyone. We're going to continue our brief introduction to Vedic astrology. Today we're going to discuss the second module and we're going to learn about the Rāśis or the 12 zodiac signs. We're going to dive deeper into the symbology behind the zodiac signs. We're going to explore the zodiac signs as the manifestation of the body of time, the differentiation between male and female and what that means. We look at their Guna, their quality, their Tattva, the element that are related to, and how they express themselves in terms of physical traits and different body types. First of all, who are the 12 zodiac signs? It is interesting that in Vedic astrology and Western astrology, the same zodiac signs are being utilized. We have Aries, number 1, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. However, if any of you has ever seen their Western horoscope and has compared it to their Vedic horoscope, many of you might have noticed that the signs don't align. Like many people come to me and I tell them, oh, you are a Libra. But they are saying, no, I went to a Western astrologer and I was Scorpio. That is because of the difference between the sidereal and the tropical zodiac. We won't be able to cover it in this video today, but you're welcome to do some own research or just ask me about it. In a nutshell, Western astrology aligns the zodiac according to the position of the sun. And whenever the sun enters into the spring equinox, whenever that happens, then they say, if we draw a line from the earth to the sun, behind the sun, there is 0 degree Aries. While in Vedic astrology, we center the star signs not on the sun entering the spring equinox. Actually, the position of the stars, according to the sidereal zodiac, has nothing to do with the position of the sun whatsoever. No, we anchored on the actual position of the stars. And there's different constellations which are called the Ayanamsa. There's different constellations that we use as Ayanamsa, as anchor point. And we say, oh, from this star, that is, for example, 0 degree Aries. And this is how we calculate. And once upon a time, they were together. Unfortunately, over the last 3,000 years, they have moved quite significantly, and therefore now the sidereal zodiac used in Vedic astrology and the tropical zodiac used in Western astrology don't align anymore. Indeed, today they are around 23 degrees apart, and therefore your Vedic horoscope will be 23 degrees behind your Western horoscope. Now, the symbology of the signs and their names carry some deeper meaning. For example, Aries is symbolized by a ram, which is similar to a goat. And we can see Aries people. Oh, you have a question? Yes.
You mentioned that one of the signs would be 23 degrees behind.
Yes, so the
doesn't make sense to me, because technically in Western astrology I would be Sagittarius, they say, and then in Vedic astrology I'm Taurus rising, and they're very far apart from one another. So I'm just wondering how that works.
Oh, that's a great question. So here the reference point is different because Taurus is your rising sign, while in Western astrology your rising sign most likely would have been Gemini. But in Western astrology, they put a greater emphasis, since it is a very solar system, they put greater emphasis on the sun sign. And therefore, many of us maybe know a sign that was related to a particular time of the month that we were born in. And that is because the sun was traveling through one sign at that time. In Vedic astrology, which is more based on our relationship to the greater universe and not just to the sun, we emphasize that sign that was rising on the eastern horizon when we were born. And that is our ascendant, the ascending sign. Now you also have a sun sign in Vedic astrology. You also have a moon sign. They're also important, but we put primary emphasis on the ascendant. And why is that? We're going to cover in module 3. Because the ascendant defines the layout of the houses, the layout of the different realms in life. So when your Vedic your sun sign in Western astrology was Sagittarius, now in Vedic astrology your sun sign is Scorpio, and your rising sign in Western astrology would have been Gemini. Maybe no one has told you, but it would have been Gemini. But in Vedic astrology, your rising sign is Taurus. Does it answer your question?
Yes, but I'm also wondering, what is the reason for Western astrology placing so much emphasis on the sun? Although Vedic astrology understands it as being an important part of who we are. I'm just wondering, is it a part of the culture or the way of thinking? What is it?
That's great. That's a great question. And there's many different ways of answering this question. To keep things simple, we can just say that both systems are true, both systems are valid. However, they're looking at different things. And sometimes there's this debate, is the tropical zodiac right? Is the sidereal zodiac right? Actually, both of them have true, but they're just looking at slightly different things. Why is Western astrology so heavily solar based? It must have a lot to do with the different shift in culture, with possibly it can have a lot to do with the suppression of astrologers in the Western world. For example, if you look at more medieval astrology, such as in ancient Greece, they also actually did put a lot of emphasis on the ascendant sign, but gradually through the medieval era, it shifted more to the sun sign. I mean, astrologers were killed, right, for practicing astrology. There was a little bit of a gap in the transmission of information, which is very different to India, which preserved lineages over thousands of years, despite political stress that was there too. So one reason can be that there was just a shift in culture. Is it that maybe in our Western culture our sun is more important? It's all about our sun, our pride, our ego? Maybe. But that there's some room for speculation here.
Okay.
For example, even in India as well, we have the ascendant sign and the moon sign. And in traditional Indian astrology, there was a greater emphasis on the moon sign, while the moon very much represents society. And we can see India used to be a very collectivistic culture, and therefore society was often more important. Who we are in society is more important than who we are ourselves. And so therefore the moon sign actually was very, very important in traditional Vedic astrology. However, these days we can see there's an even greater emphasis on the ascendant than on the moon sign. And that could be because there's a shift from a more collectivistic society to a more individualistic society. And also in our modern society, we can see in our Western culture, it's all about us and me and myself. And that's very much the sun. So there can be some connections to that too. Now, continuing about the different symbols of the zodiac signs, it is important to note that every sign actually is a division of space rather than of just stars, like it is a 30-degree division in space. And the zodiac signs don't exactly line up with the position of the stars. However, the ancient Rāśis, the ancient seers, they understood the qualities of those divisions of space and tried to align them to different symbols that we can see in the sky, to make it easy for us to remember and to understand. So for example, Aries, it is a very Aries people. They can sometimes run with their head through the wall. They're known to be quite impulsive and ambitious, and similar to a goat, right? Which can be very just run after it with very strong legs and just push forward like an Aries person, just climb a mountain. Maybe there's no idea of what comes after the mountain, but just for the sake of climbing, right? Like that ram, which is climbing up. Taurus is symbolized by a bull. What does the bull represent? Well, in the ancient Vedic culture, the bull or the cow were also considered like mother and father, because they would help to plow the field. They would help the cow. She would give milk products, which in Ayurveda were considered the greatest medicine. And the bull would help in growing vegetables. So the cow and bull were very much connected to nourishment. And so also Taurus is that sign of the zodiac which represents nourishment. Gemini is represented by a couple or by twins. There's different depictions. Some depicted as a couple which is uniting. Some depicted as twins. Some depicted as Lord Shiva with his sitar, and Saraswati on the other side with her sitar. However, Gemini represents a couple. It represents two, because Gemini is a sign that can often give twins. It can also give a person with multiple interests, who is very spread across in many directions, who has many hobbies, many goals, who is seen as if in many places at the same time. Therefore, Gemini has this connection to a twin. Gemini can often give two. Gemini ruling the house of marriage sometimes can give two marriages if other factors in the horoscope agree. If Gemini is in the house of career, sometimes it can give two jobs like this. Cancer is symbolized by a crab, and Cancerian people, they have the power to grab us, like with their sharp, English is my second language. How do you call that?
Maybe talons? I'm not sure.
Like, you know, the hand of a crab.
Claws.
The claws, yes. Like Cancer, sometimes they can grab you. For Cancerians, home and nest is really important. So they have the power to grab another person and take them to their nest, which can be positive or negative depending on the other factors of the chart. Leo obviously is represented by a lion. Leo is connected to the sun, and a lion, he's the king of the jungle, right? So the sun is the king among all the planets. All the planets rotate around the sun, and all the animals in the jungle also, they respect the king, the lion. So also Leos, they act like that lion. They aspire for leadership positions. They can get really frustrated if they can't live up to that high bar that they like to set for themselves. Virgo is represented by a virgin girl who is crossing a river on a boat. So it's very much connected to purity. And Virgos, they like to keep themselves pure. They like to live in a clean space. They're very analytical, and they can overthink sometimes, similar to this young girl just before she hits puberty. She's very curious. She just wants to learn. She's analyzing everyone in her environment. That is very much that frequency of Virgo. Libra is symbolized not by a scale. Many people think Libra is symbolized by a scale, but actually Libra is symbolized by a man holding a scale. And Libra is a sign that is all about balance. If Libra becomes very strong in our horoscope, such as by being placed in the ascendant, or if we have a lot of planets there, then creating balance and harmony will become very important. And Libras often have to learn a lot of lessons about drawing boundaries. Scorpio obviously is symbolized by a scorpion, and similar to Cancer, Scorpios, they have a very sharp, how do you call that? Tail. They have a very sharp tail, and they can pierce a person. So Scorpios, they have the power to injure. If they get attacked, they will attack back. Scorpios also, they can go quite deep into wells underground, and they like to live in hidden places. So also Scorpio is very much connected to all types of hidden knowledge. Sagittarius is in Centaur. It's half an archer carrying a bow and half a horse. That has a tremendous energy. Sagittarians have tremendous energy to accomplish their tasks. They're extremely adventurous. They love to stand up for the right cause. Capricorn is symbolized by a sea monster. It is not in Western astrology. There's a difference. I think they symbolize it with another type of ram or another type of goat. While in the Vedas, Capricorn, Makara, is described as a sea monster. It's half crocodile, half deer. We don't find this in our modern world. It is related to Saturn. Capricorn is one of the most disciplined signs. It's usually a bit of a late achiever. but it is the sign representing great strength and discipline. Aquarius is symbolized by a water bearer, a person who carries a pot of water. And as we learn later today, Aquarius is that sign that is ruled by two planets. It is ruled by Saturn. It is also ruled by Rahu. Both of them are very much related to the tamas element, which we touched upon last time and which we'll learn a little bit more today. So that water beverage, it can also be an intoxicant. So Aquarius is very much related also to intoxication, to unclean waters, etc. And Pisces is related to two fish. And those two fish, one of them is swimming down and one of them is swimming up. Now, this was a very brief and simple introduction of the symbols, just for the scope of this course. But this year's, the Rāśis have encoded great depth into all of these symbols. And in our more advanced courses, we will go into the different divisions of the signs according to different degrees. For example, Pisces can be divided into 3 portions and 3 10-degree portions, while the first 10 degree, represent that fish which is going downwards. So Pisces, our sign which usually represents the open ocean and spirituality, while the first 10 degrees are considered the least spiritual side of Pisces, because that is this fish jumping straight back into the material world. While the last 10 degrees of Pisces represent the fish going upwards. This is the last portion of the Zodiac and represents the most spiritual portion of Pisces that is very much drawn to jumping out of the material ocean and seeking some higher transformation. While that middle portion is the most balanced portion of Pisces, having one foot in both worlds. So there's more to the symbols than what I've told you, but for the time being, if you can just remember this symbol, if you can remember one line about them, that will be very helpful. Now, the signs beginning from Aries to Pisces represent the body of time, or the body of the Kāla Puruṣa. Where Kāla means time, Puruṣa means person. And the Vedas, the whole universe is personified. It is not just ourselves, it's not just me that is a person and you, but it describes that the universe also is a supreme person. It is alive and is trying to communicate with us in many ways. And the Kāla Puruṣa, therefore, is God in the form of time, or time in the form of space. And Aries here represents the head, the most upper part of our body. And that is why Aries people, they're very headstrong. Like headstrong in a sense, they love to make decisions. It doesn't mean they love to think, it's just headstrong. They love to make decisions, right? Taurus is related to our throat and our neck, to the vocal cords. So Taurus persons, they can make great singers. They can also, more often than that, it can make a person who really loves to enjoy life. Because what does our mouth do? It likes to eat. So Taurus people, they love to eat fine foods. And not just fine foods, they love to have fine clothing and fine things in general. Because the mouth, it is primarily associated with enjoyment and nourishment. Gemini represents our shoulders and arms and our hands, and therefore also Geminis, they love to keep their hands busy. They love to follow their hobbies, and we also use our hands and arms to communicate with others a little bit. So they love to communicate and share. Cancer is connected to our chest, and particular to our emotional heart, and therefore Cancerians, they love to feel. Leo is connected to the solar plexus, the physical heart. We usually take Leo, also our upper intestines. Virgo is connected to our abdomen. Digestion occurs in Virgo, and therefore Virgos, they tend to have stomach problems. Every sign has a higher inclination. Every ascendant sign has an inclination to problems related to the sign that they represent, to the body part that they represent. For example, Virgo representing the abdomen Virgo can overthink and it can affect their stomach. Libra is related to our sexual organs, the reproductive system. Scorpio is connected to the reproductive parts, but more those parts which are inside of us, which are unseen. In particular, Scorpio is related to the extractory organs. So if Scorpio becomes very weak in a horoscope, a person can have problems with their colon. Like this week, a few days ago, I saw a person and Scorpio, the sign Scorpio in his horoscope was extremely weak. You will learn in module 4 how to access strength. And he had an operation where some part of his colon had to be removed. Sagittarius is related to our hips and to our thighs. Capricorn to our knees. Aquarius is related to our calves. And Pisces finally is related to our feet. So Pisceans, they love to travel. So we can see the feet, they become very strong. A person just loves to move. Now, in the ancient classics, next, after hearing about the body parts related to the 12 zodiac signs, after learning about their symbol, Puruṣa next teaches us about their movable, fixed and dual nature, and he will tell us about their different divisions according to cruel and gentle, masculine or feminine, and their elemental constitution. Odd signs are related to the male quality, while female signs are related to the female quality. We have Cancer and Leo in the middle, which are ruled by the moon and the sun. And the sun, which represents pure masculinity, and which represents the king of all the planets, chose Leo, which is the most masculine among all the signs. And the moon, the queen, which does not like to travel far away or exist far away from her king, chose Cancer, which is the most feminine sign and directly conjoined Leo. Then Mercury, who is the prince in the planetary cabinet. I think previously we spoke about the planetary cabinet. Mercury, who is the prince, choose Gemini and Virgo, which are just directly conjoined Cancer and Leo. Now, Gemini and Virgo, one sign is odd, while another sign is female. So Mercury split his qualities and invested his masculine qualities into Gemini and his feminine qualities into Virgo. Venus, which represents the advisor of the king's court, particular Venus is a little bit more materialistic advisor, choose Taurus and Libra, which are directly conjoined Gemini and Virgo. Then we have Mars, the general, the army general, our protective forces. They're naturally grouped around in Aries and Scorpio. Jupiter took Sagittarius and Pisces, and Saturn took the last two signs which are left. He's the slowest planet, so he took Capricorn and Aquarius. We can visualize this a little bit just here. We have Cancer and Leo directly conjoined. Mercury took charge of Gemini and Virgo, which come next in the zodiac. Venus took care of Taurus and Libra. Mars, Scorpio and Aries. Jupiter, Sagittarius and Pisces. And Saturn, finally, Aquarius and Capricorn. This also aligns with the direction of the planets and their distance from the sun. We have Mercury, which comes first. Then we have Venus, which comes next. Then we have Mars, which comes after Venus. The Earth is not included because that's our vantage point. Then Jupiter and then Saturn. Now, the planets split their energies, and therefore, starting with Aries, yes.
I'm just wondering, theoretically or hypothetically or realistically, if someone from another planet would then include the Earth and exclude their own planet when drawing up a horoscope.
My Jyotish guru taught me that if a person is born on Mars, then we will not take Mars. We will take Mars out of the scheme and we'll insert the Earth. However, I have not met anyone born of Mars, and I really don't know why he taught me this. Okay, now Aries is the first sign in our count, and it is ruled by Mars. It is number 1, therefore it is a masculine sign. And Mars, taking all his masculine energy, has so much to give, right? It gives a lot of, if you want to put one word on it, it gives Aries a lot of ambition. So Aries is the sign of ambition. The reduction of a sign into one word is traditionally not done in Jyotish. I have added a one-word description on the side, just for simplicity. We can write pages and pages of the zodiac signs, and there's some more descriptions included in your handout, just below this video. However, if you want something easy to remember, oh, Aries, ambition, you will never go wrong with that one. You meet a person, Aries ascendant, you say, oh, you're really ambitious. And if Mars, the lord of Aries, is really weak, then you say, oh, you wish you would be really ambitious. but you're struggling. Now, Taurus is number 2. Actually, let's contrast this. Aries is the masculine sign of Mars, so there's another sign of Mars, which is Scorpio. Scorpio is the feminine sign of Mars. So now imagine we have Mars, our planet of fighting, of war, of overcoming competition, of fire, and we have this fiery planet, and now he is reflecting his energy through Scorpio, like feminine inside. Masculine and feminine, Puruṣa earlier described it as malefic and benefic. What I would like to do is I would describe it as external and internal. Feminine signs, they tend to be more internal, while masculine signs tend to be more out in the world. So Aries is not known to be the most self-aware. They're great in accomplishing tasks, but they're not known to be the most self-aware. While Scorpio is known to be very internalized. They have a lot of emotional baggage that they carry. Because Scorpio is all of Mars's energy inside. So there's a lot of war going on inside. There's a lot of turmoil going on inside. If the moon is in Scorpio, then a person, he's aware of the darker side of humanity. He has seen it all. He's that wounded child that has seen the good and the bad, and who's trying to transform and who's trying to change. So for Scorpio, we can say it's the sign of transformation. Scorpios, they love to transform themselves and others, and they love to be an agent of transformation. Yes? No? Okay. Taurus is the feminine sign of Venus. So it is all this beauty, all this creativity, this internalized. It gives a great desire for enjoyment. It also makes a person really bright and creative inside. In contrast, we have Libra, which is this feminine energy outside in the world. So these persons, they really try to, the world is their stage a little bit. So Libra can make great artists. It can also make great politicians, like Mahatma Gandhi. He wanted to create balance in the world through non-violence. So this desire for balance is very much seen by Venus's energy applied outside, externally in the world through Libra. Then we have Gemini, which is the masculine sign of Mercury. It's a sign of communication. Mercury already represents communication. Now it's all externally. Gemini can make great speakers. Persons who can easily make friends, who can communicate with everyone, who love to speak in riddles. While Virgo is the feminine sign of Mercury. So it is all this intelligence, all this communication, but it's happening inside. So they love to analyze. Virgo is a sign of analysis. Cancer is the feminine sign of the moon, and Leo is the masculine sign of Leo. The sun and the moon, they are dualities. So Leo, that masculine masculine sign. It's all about leadership, being seen in the world, working. While Cancer, it's all about being at home, being happy, relaxing, resting, nurturing, building a family. Sagittarius and Pisces are the respective signs of Jupiter. Sagittarius is connected to righteousness. Jupiter, our planet signifying virtue. Now all this virtue, it is applied outside in the world. So we have a person who's a judge. Are you acting according to morals and ethics? Are you virtuous or not? Sagittarians, they're very well aware of what is right and what is wrong, and truth is extremely important to them. If Venus is in Sagittarius, then truth becomes the most important part of a relationship. When the spouse lies, it significantly hampers the romantic connection in the relationship if Venus is in Sagittarius. If the ascendant or moon or the sun are in Sagittarius, just truth becomes extremely important. And we sometimes say Sagittarius is the sign of religion, while Pisces is the sign of spirituality. Because in Sagittarius, a person knows the truth, but that is not enough. Everyone has to follow the truth. While in Pisces, that truth, it is all internalized. All this wisdom, it is internalized. It is not about changing the world. It is more about, I change myself, I follow the spiritual path, and I love it, and I just want to love everyone else. Capricorn and Aquarius are the respective signs of Saturn. Saturn internalized in his female expression in Capricorn. He creates a lot of discipline inside. He can make the mind very hard, very rigid, very disciplined, very focused on action and duty. If Venus is in Capricorn, a person loves through fulfilling their duty, through their actions. Now in Aquarius, we like to call it the sign of innovation, because Aquarius is not only ruled by Saturn, it is also ruled by Rahu. In the same way like Scorpio is not only ruled by Mars, but also ruled by Ketu. So Rahu, he loves to cross boundaries, and so does the Aquarius person. They love to cross boundaries. They're very interested in anything which is out of the box. They're usually friends of the underdog, and they love to explore foreign ideas and foreign cultures. Now, every person has every sign somewhere in the horoscope. And the ascendant sign becomes the most important sign in Vedic astrology. I highly recommend all of you to find out what is your ascendant sign and have a look if you can relate to those qualities here or some of these more elaborate descriptions mentioned below. But all the other planets will also change their expression according to their sign. For example, Mercury, which represents speech, will act differently in different signs. If Mercury is in Aries, a person will be a very fiery and very ambitious speaker. If Mercury is in Taurus, a person can be very flirtatious. If Mercury is in Gemini, oh, what an excellent speaker. If Mercury is in Cancer, a person will be a very emotional speaker. If Mercury is in Leo, a person, his speech will be powerful. And it will be straight to the point. And if you transgress the truth, he will burn you. Mercury in Virgo also will make a very analytical speaker. Mercury in Libra, again, a very harmonious speaker. Mercury in Scorpio, oh God. He will be a great personal trainer. Mercury in Sagittarius will love to speak the truth. Mercury in Capricorn will... I have Mercury in Capricorn. So my teacher said Mercury in Capricorn makes the master of persuasion. Like he's expert in convincing you to anything, and he can mold a conversation anywhere he likes to go. Mercury in Aquarius, he would speak a lot of things which are like, wow, where did this come from? We didn't expect that. Very innovative. And Mercury in Pisces, where Mercury is debilitated in Pisces. So a person, they will say a lot. They will say so much. But the actual information, it's little. So it can make a great poetic writer. I met a lady, she was Pisces ascendant with Mercury in Pisces. And I asked her, oh, do you love creative writing? And are you a creative writer? And she said, yes, actually, that's what I do. So, yeah, do you have a question?
I just need a reminder. Is my Mercury in the second house?
No, your Mercury, didn't touch about houses. Houses will come next time. Your second house is Gemini.
Where's
but
Mercury?
Your Mercury is in Scorpio.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So your Mercury is in Scorpio. So we can say it was a very transformative speech. I bet you love to transform people with your speech. And then your Mercury is not only in Scorpio, it is also conjoined to Sun, which is a little bit like in Leo. So it's very straightforward sometimes. If a person does not, like, I bet you love to be straight to the point when you speak. And you like to stand up for the truth. It is also conjoined Jupiter. If Mercury is conjoined Jupiter, then it creates a special yoga. It's called Bhagavad Gita yoga. Like Sri Krishna, he has Mercury conjoined Jupiter in his horoscope. He spoke the Bhagavad Gita. It's called after him. And it makes a person who loves to share spiritual wisdom, a person who loves to give seminars and speak to the public. Yeah, like this. And we can do the same for Venus. Oh, we learn so much about a person if we just know where sign Venus is placed in. If you know the sign of Venus, of your partner, oh, you know exactly how to please them. Next, we will learn about the Gunas, the qualities of the signs. Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn are Chara Rāśis, which means, Chara means movable. Movable signs, they have more Rājas. Rājas means passion. They love to move. Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio and Aquarius are Sthira Rāśis. They are fixed. Fixed signs are stagnant. Sthira Rāśis are also associated with tamas, the mode of ignorance, of inactivity. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces are Dvishvabhava Rāśis, or we also say dual signs. They are infused with sattva, with goodness. They move when they have to move, and they sit still when they have to sit still. We can see Aries, it's a movable sign. They're very active, right? It's like the soldier out on the battlefield who loves to move around and get things done. Aries ascendants in general, they struggle a little bit with sitting still. Unless other planets are overpowering the sign, they love to be out in the world and be active and get things done. It is not so much about sitting in the school and just studying and learning. Cancer is also a movable sign. So it also moves very quickly. But how does it move very quickly? Cancer, it's all about emotions. And here we can see in Cancer, the emotions, they move very fast. Similar with Libra. Libra is also a movable sign. Here, again, it is a masculine sign. So how does it move very quickly? Is it inside or out? No, it's outside in the world. Or they're moving very quickly to accomplish their goals, to change the world, to create balance and harmony. And last, we have Capricorn, which is also, again, a movable sign. Always trying to improve themselves, their inner strength, inner discipline. Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, they're fixed signs. Taurus, among all the signs, is they're said to be the most immovable, the most fixed. Taurus is known to be the most stubborn because Taurus is not only fixed, it's also associated to the earth element. So very difficult to change. However, once they set themselves to something, they usually stick to it. Leo also is a fixed sign, like the sun, which is fixed in one point. And Scorpio also is a fixed sign. Scorpio, it is like that stagnant water in a well. It's stagnant water which has become poisonous, which is similar to Aquarius, which is also a fixed sign. Difficult to change, very stubborn. They want to change the world, and it doesn't matter who comes in their path, they're not going to stop. And in that way, they are also considered fixed. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces are dual signs. They have sattva. That means they move when they have to move and they sit when they have to sit. While Chara signs, such as Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, they move even when sometimes it would be better to sit still. And Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius are stira signs. They sit still when sometimes it would be better to get moving. Particularly Sagittarius and Pisces are considered the most benefic signs because they are not only dual signs, they're not only in goodness, but they're also lorded by Jupiter, who's also in goodness. So they're considered among the most auspicious and most benefic signs. While Scorpio and Aquarius are not only fixed signs, but are also lorded by Saturn and Rahu, or Mars and Ketu, which are very tamasic signs. So they are the most difficult to change. And any planet in Scorpio or Aquarius takes the longest to really mature and do what he wants to do, because these signs are just very fixed. They just have a lot of tamas. Yes?
So if someone has their ascendant lord as a stira sign, then would it be that they struggle to accept changes in their life because they like to keep...
Yes, exactly. Stira ascendants, they really struggle with change. They love consistency. While Chara signs, they love to move. And dual signs, they move when they have to. They sit still when they have to. Like this. And it is not only the ascendant, but we can also look at the rulers of different houses and the signs in different houses.
So we can see where the Chara signs are, even if they have the ascendant of stira, and you can see that in those areas of life, they like to move faster, but then as a person, they don't like change, like that?
Exactly. But here it is important to note that all signs which share the same guna, which share the same quality, are in kendra to each other. For example, if you look at the Chara signs, if I would draw a line from Aries to Cancer, from Cancer to Libra, from Libra to Capricorn, and back to Aries, we have a square. Can you see the square that I'm making with my mouse? So also, all stira signs are also in a square, like Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And the same for all dual signs, which are also here in a square. And once we go into our next week's content of houses, we will see that all houses that are in square from each other will share the same guna. So, for example, using Taurus, since you are Taurus, Taurus, they not only don't like to change themselves, it's their ascendant, but also in their career. What is their career? Which sign rules their career for Taurus ascendant? We cover this next week. It is Aquarius. So naturally, for Taurus persons in general, a career takes a little longer to pick up because it is a fixed sign, because it is Aquarius. Oh, it will take a long time before this Taurus person will find himself established in their career. And usually also they don't like to change their career too much. Now, let's go a little more advanced. The signs also are related to a particular element. And elements, they work in trines. For example, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are fire trines. While Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are earth trines. Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini are air trines. And Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio are water trines. Now, taking the elements and the trines together, we can see that there is a unique distinction among all the signs. For example, every fire sign, we have 3 of them, will be in a different guna, in a different quality. We have Aries, which is a chara, a movable fire sign. We have Leo, which is a stira, a fixed fire sign. And we have Sagittarius, which is a Dvishvabhava Rashi, a dual fire sign. How does that play out? For example, fire signs are very much connected to Dharma. Dharma means to our purpose, also to virtue, to doing the right thing. Now, Aries, a movable fire sign, can be likened a little bit to a soldier who moves around and he has a lot of fire, he can bring destruction. He's like that moving fire. There's a lot of rajas, a lot of passion. While Leo is a fixed fire sign. It is like this, the king, which he also goes out on a battle, but not as much as all the soldiers do. So he is a little bit more fixed fire, fixed in one position. While Sagittarius is this fire and goodness. It is like that ethical judge who is preserving dharma, who's preserving virtue, who's preserving righteousness, but in the most positive and most balanced way. Now, we can do the same for all the signs. We learn a lot about a person by knowing their element. For example, Taurus is an earthen sign. And so also Taurus people, they're very good in giving form to ideas. The earth element very much means giving form to ideas, producing something that lasts. So therefore, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, they're extremely practical signs. While the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, they're very transformative signs. They love to preserve virtue, or they're very virtuous sign, let's put it that way. They're very much connected to dharma, to virtue. While those earthen signs are very connected to art, to economic expansion. Air signs are related to karma. Karma means pleasure, such as enjoying our partner, or enjoying our friends, enjoying family life. That is very much connected to the air signs. So Gemini is a great communicator, right? Libra, it's all about society. Aquarius also is this social revolutionary, social rebel. While water signs are connected to moksha. Moksha is often translated as liberation, but in our context, it more represents rejuvenation. So Cancer is water it's a movable water sign. So there's a lot of emotions going on, sometimes a bit too much. While Scorpio is a fixed water sign. So it has a lot of tamas. What happens to water when it becomes stagnant? All gets polluted, it is poisonous. Therefore, Scorpio, it can be poisonous. If any planet is in Scorpio, then that planet can get a little bit more poisoned. If the moon is there, it means our mind is poisoned with some adverse experience that could have happened in the past, or at least be aware of that poison within humanity. Pisces represents water and goodness. So it can make the most spiritual, can bring about the most spiritual people, the persons who really know how to gain freedom and also how to rejuvenate. Those elements are not only connected to the Purusharthas, those four goals of life, dharma, purpose, artha, economic development, karma, enjoyment, and moksha, liberation or rejuvenation, but they're also connected to four careers. As we delineated last time, the careers of the planets and the occupations, so the signs also, according to their element, represent different occupations. Dharma and fire are very much connected to the warrior caste, to administrators and leaders. The earth element is very much related to merchants, to vaishyas, to persons who trade their skills. And the air element is very much connected to laborers. And the water element is very much connected to educators and teachers. For example, Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces all can make Brahmana. And we say in India, we say priest. In our modern society, we would say a psychologist. But the approach will be very different. For example, Scorpio, which is this fixed water, this tamasic water, the stagnant water, it can give a tantric priest, a person who is very well aware of all different types of magic, white and black, and knows the best how to achieve his purpose. But in terms of counselors, it could be a counselor who deals with a lot of trauma, who deals with a lot of suffering, who goes down into this realm of stagnant water. While in Pisces, we would have a very open-minded priest, a very broad-minded priest, a person who also is very compassionate at heart and only has the best interests in mind for everyone, because it is water, it is emotion, it is feeling, but it is in goodness. In terms of our counselors, this would be a teacher who is very well aware of different types of people and different philosophies, and who will only give them what is ultimately valuable for them, who is not just concerned with their happiness today, but also with their happiness in the future. By Cancer, we give someone who is in between the two of them. So this ends our description on the Tattvas, on the Gunas. There's one last thing that I would love to share with you, and that are the bodily features of the zodiac signs. They are enunciated by Puruṣa in the following verses of the Rāśis Varupa Adhyaya. And Aries will give a strong and muscular body. It tends to give a medium height. It can give a very prominent forehead, and it can give very sharp, penetrating eyes. In general, if Mars is associated with our physique, then our glance has the power to kill. And their eyes will tend to move really quick. While if Taurus gives us our body, then we can see a person usually will have a thick neck and thick shoulders. They can have very beautiful eyes. Taurus usually can give curly hair and a generally attractive appearance. Gemini can give a well-proportioned body. A person will look younger than they are. Why will they look younger? All because it is ruled by Mercury. Mercury, the prince who looks younger. The eyes are bright. Why they're bright? Because he loves to learn. He's very curious. Why is he nervous? Well, Gemini is an air sign, right? And air is connected to movement. Too much overthinking. Cancer, a person will usually have a round face like the moon, particularly if they're born closer to a full moon. They will have soft features like the water element. Medium height, they tend to be more pale and white. And they tend to have more emotional eyes. Now, Leo, if Leo gives our bodily shape, a person will have a very strong body, broad shoulders. Their body will tend to be more square, but Cancer will give a body that is more round. They will have a commanding presence. Virgo will give a slender body, a symmetric body, moderate height, and will give very delicate features. It is a feminine sign. A person will look very intelligent, and also a person will look youthful. Because again, it is ruled by Mercury. They will look very sharp, very neat. Libra, again, will give a beautiful body because of Venus, medium to tall height. Puruṣa says Libra can give us a charming smile. Scorpio will give a very magnetic physique, sharp and penetrating eyes, a dusky complexion, makes a person muscular. Why are they muscular? All because it is ruled by Mars. And why are they secretive? Well, yeah, I think it's obvious. Sagittarius will give a strong and well-built body, a broader forehead, a cheerful face, fair complexion. Jupiter can make a person more fair. Jupiter can also make a person more blonde. Capricorn can give a more bony structure, medium to short height, and then give a very serious face. Capricorn is the ascendant of China. Aries is the ascendant of Germany. Some say Scorpio is the US. Some use another time and say it is Gemini. And the zodiac sign will not only affect ourselves by birth, but it will also affect a country. And it is interesting, if we study some of the Greek astrology books, we will hear that, unfortunately I forgot his name, he was a great astrologer. He wrote that before delineating how to read a person's horoscope, he delineated how to read the horoscope of a country. Because a person will only manifest these qualities according to time, place, and circumstances. For example, Capricorn and Scorpio tend to be smaller, but if a person is born in Africa, which is generally tall, where people are generally tall, a person will be small according to the cultural context.
Was it Galileo?
Pardon?
The astrologer. I could be very wrong.
Galileo Galilei?
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay.
Good guess. But not him. Way before that. Aquarius will make a person very tall. And Aquarians usually look very unconventional, or they can be very expressive. Here it says forward looking. I'm not sure if this is 100% correct. Generally, Saturn likes to look down. Tamasic planets like Saturn, Mars, Rahu, Ketu, they tend to look down. Rajasic planets, Mercury and Venus, they look to their sides. And Sattvic planets such as Leo, the Moon, Jupiter, they like to look up. Pisces will give a soft and round body, medium height, very dreamy eyes, a gentle appearance. Pisces can make a person quite big, as well as Sagittarius. Jupiter tends to expand whichever he comes in contact with. I would love to hear if the ascendant signs align with you, if you can relate to the physical features. Generally, the stronger between the ascendant and the moon sign will give us our form. I've often seen very good results with the ascendant. The moon sign also matters, since the moon sign is our mental physique, and the Vedas describe that it is first our mind which attracts a certain body. So both interplay, particularly if our moon sign becomes very strong. Also, planets in the ascendant, in the sign, will overpower the significations of the sign. That is also very important. So, my dear Ganga, since you're the only person here today, please tell me, can you relate to the descriptions of your ascendant sign?
You mentioned that they have a strong neck. So
It says stout body, broad face, thick neck, large beautiful eyes, fair or light complexion, curly hair, and generally attractive appearance.
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay. Your moon is in Capricorn. So let's have a look at that too. Slender and bony structure, medium to short height, serious or grave facial expression. Often dark or tan complexion and reserved demeanor.
I don't have a tan complexion.
That is true. That is very much true. However, how about the other statements? I think you have a reserved demeanor at times.
Yeah, I would say so.
You can look serious, especially if you're absorbed. You can look very grave and serious. Maybe you're not slender and bony, but we can say you're medium to short height.
I don't know. There is, because there would be a contradiction. Either I have a stout body or I have a slender and bony structure.
Exactly. But we can see.
Maybe that aspect could be influenced by something.
Yeah, we can see that both the significations of the ascendant and the moon play intertwine to give us our body.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, thank you so much for joining us today. Next time, we're going to continue about the houses, which are 12 distinct areas of our life. So we will learn about the house that signifies ourself. We will hear about the house that signifies our bank account, our money, our courage and siblings, our home, our children, our enemies, our relationships, etc. So, see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.